What's going on, everybody? Good late afternoon or early evening for some of you by now. We got a Thursday night football game in just a little bit here. I hope you guys were able to attend the Hawks Nest joint stream earlier today. If you weren't, then you can go check out the VOD on either of our channels at any time. We discussed the Niners game, the Falcons game, the Roy Robertson-Harris trade, many other Seahawks topics. Check it out. So now we got to take a look at the Thursday injury report. That's one disadvantage to having the show in Thursday afternoon instead of Thursday evening. You don't get the injury report until after the show's over. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and take a look now and get an understanding of what we might be having and not having for game day. We got the latest from Condota here. Before we get to the practice report, though, I want to say I hope you like this video. If you do, please click the like button, helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. All right. So Condota has the report here. Let's go ahead and go through it step by step here. I'll comment on what needs to be commented on. Did not participate was 5 players long again, but it was some different players. Not all, but some. Stone Forsyth did not participate again with the same hand injury. So he is now, I think you could say at the very least, up in the air. Did not participate on Wednesday. That could be anything. That's not that big of a deal. But once you're at that DNP point on Thursday, you have to at least be open to the possibility that you're not going to make it back in time. So Stone Forsyth did not participate again. Condota was asked about Forsyth after practice and said that he's battling and that if he can't play, then Jason Peters or maybe Michael Jarrell are going to get the shot. So McClendon Curtis not mentioned there, but we're talking about a 42-year-old guy who got off the couch a couple weeks ago. And we're talking about a 7th round rookie, or no, was this a 6th round rookie who has only played Division III football in his life? Like, that's, you know, say whatever you want to say about Forsyth. And maybe you could argue that it can't really get worse, I guess. But I believe that it can get worse. And I don't think that this development is helping anything. I just don't. So for me, I'm hoping he can get back in time to at least give us the option to have him. And if not, then it's going to be an interesting journey. Okay, so that's Forsyth. That's kind of the big one because of the ramifications of what would come up behind him. Now, that's not to say it's the most impactful loss this upcoming Sunday. It looks like Trey Brown did not participate with the ankle injury. So at this point, I think you're forced to conclude that Trey Brown's unlikely to play. Requel and also did not participate in practice, so I think we can now kind of move him to a state where we can say with some degree of comfort that he probably, I don't want to say he probably won't play, but at the very least there is a very real possibility. I think that some comments that McDonald made yesterday indicated that Woolen had a decent chance, so I'm not going to move off of that. But this is not what you need when you're about to play a team that has 3 really good receivers. And let's not forget Kyle Pitts, who basically is a receiver. You don't need to be losing 2 of your top cornerbacks on top of already losing your starting safety. So, not too thrilled about that. Now, the 2 new names to the DNP list were Tyler Lockett and Kenny McIntosh. Now, McIntosh doesn't play, like, at all, really. So that I'm not really going to sweat. Lockett, on the other hand, notice this is not a rest day. This is a knee. And it might be a glorified rest day. They might just list the knee there because they have to list something. But I am noticing that they didn't say anything about NIR or rest here. It's just a knee. That implies something happened because he was not listed at all yesterday. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff that can get people buzzing about old Ivan in the strength and conditioning room. People see stuff like that and they start wondering, like, hey, where'd that come from? It's practice. It's midweek. You're not supposed to get hurt. So we'll see if it means anything tomorrow. If Lockett practices tomorrow, then this was probably just a rest day that they decided to mark as not a rest day. But we won't know until tomorrow. And, I mean, we can't afford any losses. I know Lockett is not what he used to be, and I've advocated for Lockett not playing as much as he typically does, but I still want him available. He makes our team better. I have no doubt about that. All right, so limited participation. We did get some good news here, and there is some kind of sort of good news in the DNP list as well. Don't get me wrong. We'll get to that in a second. Limited was Byron Murphy, but Byron Murphy spoke to the media today, and he basically said, yeah, I'm playing. He is going to play. So Byron Murphy is going to be available. Maybe he's not 100%, but that's 2 straight days of limited practice for him. Going to call that good news. Jarek Reed, limited. Probably not coming off IR quite yet, but he's getting there. So now we go to full participation, and there is some good news here, right? You got Anthony Bradford, who was a DNP on Wednesday, now a full participant, so he should be totally available by game day, and it looks like the toe injury is not significant. I know some people might say that's bad news because they don't like Bradford, but again, I have to ask, what is Haynes doing in practice to where Bradford still looks better than him to the point where Bradford's playing? And I'm aware of that. I don't think that they're just handing it to Bradford because they're going alphabetically or something like that. I think they're giving it to him for a reason. Again, unless the injury is something that's going to affect his ability to play, then I just want one of these 2 guys to take the job full time. So if it's Bradford, it's Bradford. If it's Haynes, it's Haynes. I'm good either way. But Bradford was back today. Chenault was also back today, so he's fine. Should be able to play. Connor Williams went from limited to full, so he's fine. That's good. Nothing to worry about there. Boye Mafe now a full participant. Leonard Williams now a full participant. So we're getting our defensive front back in full. And, I mean, we're going to need it, especially if we don't have these cornerbacks. If we don't have these defensive backs out there, there's not much else to cling on to. We need our front. And Mafe being basically 100%, Big Cat 100%, on top of Derek Hall being 100%. It's what the doctor ordered for sure. And, of course, Julian Love still a full participant. So, some good stuff here. There's some good news. Woolen not being available for this game, though, might be a little bit of a disqualifying event, kind of, because of how much Atlanta uses their receivers and how much we need guys like Woolen and Spoon out there to counteract that a little bit. Maybe we can survive without Brown, but I don't know if we can survive without Brown and Woolen, just being honest. Okay, so that's the Seahawks side of things. Nemhauser has the Falcons side of things. They got a little bit better as well, although it's not exactly what they wanted. Lorenzo Carter still in concussion protocol, it looks like, so probably not going to play at this point. Kaderol Hodge, not injury-related, was out today. That doesn't mean much, though. He's going to play, and he doesn't play that much anyway. The big one for them is Troy Anderson, who remains out of practice with a knee. So at this point, I think you can kind of start to conclude that he probably won't be available. So Troy Anderson may be missing this week, and they have a bad defense, don't get me wrong, but Troy Anderson was playing pretty decently for them. It just hasn't meant a lot, but I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's part of the problem. I imagine that ultimately, when everything comes out, he will be part of the solution. But, yeah, looks like a decent chance they will not have him this weekend. Bijan's still limited, but it's just because of rest stuff, so that doesn't really mean much. But what does mean something is Justin Simmons was able to come back and practice in a limited form today. He is probably on track to play. Maybe not necessarily to play at his full potential, but able to play. So that's very big. That defense, of the few things on that defense that go right for the Falcons, Justin Simmons is probably pretty close to the top of the list. I'll put it to you that way. And Antonio Hamilton Sr. and Nate Landman were able to make their way back to full participation, so they should be fine. I don't think they play very much, but, I mean, Nate Landman, that could matter, right? Troy Anderson out, maybe Landman gets a little bit more time. Who knows? Okay, that's it. So, we're not thrilled necessarily, but things are getting better. And at least we've got some front seven firepower back, right? Because Mafe and Williams, we've seen them play in their injured state, and it's not that good. So them getting back to full today was big. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Enjoy the Thursday night game. See you guys on Twitch tonight. See you guys with videos tomorrow.